It's 2045 and America has just gone bad, with the government solely basing its morals on religion, and everyone who disagrees will be deemed a terrorist or will be ended immediately. Despite this, there are still people fighting for freedom, and Ron's family is one of them. As they seek refuge in an old house somewhere in a forest while hiding from the government, they realize it's not just the authorities and militia outside that they should be worrying about. Rather, it's something that is lurking inside the house. Let's find out if Ron's family survives, as they learn about the house's history of evil. The movie starts by giving a brief context of the current events. It's already the year 2045, and America just turned into the North American Federation. The country now relies heavily on religion and nationalism, and anyone who opposes or disagrees will be killed. This causes the local militia to spread terror among citizens with this kind of threat. Despite this, there's a group of opposing people called the Resistance, whose goal is to promote freedom and fight for the rights of every person by disagreeing with the government's beliefs. The first scene starts with a prison officer driving a vehicle while listening to an important announcement on the radio, which states that there's a fugitive by the name of Allegra Dyer. She's an important member of the Resistance and is wanted by the government for being a political terrorist. After listening to the news on the radio, it reveals that the prison officer driving the vehicle is actually transporting Allegra to safety. Allegra shows her gratitude to the officer, who wishes her good luck. There, Allegra reunites with husband Ron, their 6-year-old daughter Daria, their dog Benny, and another member of the Resistance named Trudy. As they travel together, they prepare to go through a checkpoint. Ron and Trudy already prepared 2 ankle tags with fake names for Allegra and Daria, so they wouldn't get caught by the militia. While they were at the checkpoint, Allegra and Daria posed as corpses inside the body bags at the back of the vehicle, with one member scanning their tags. The militia makes sure that every person who passes through is a believer, and anyone who opposes will be shot on sight, as seen by Ron and Trudy when a woman got shot by a member of the militia after trying to run away. The militia member scanning Allegra and Daria's ankle tags experiences a glitch in the scanner, but good thing that they still made it past the checkpoint despite that. After barely passing the checkpoint, the family drives through the empty roads and reaches a clearing in the forest. They park their vehicle there and wear camouflage coats to avoid getting detected by the flying drones sent by authorities to find fugitives like Allegra. Not long after, the group reaches the old house where they'll stay for the meantime before the other members of the Resistance will come and get them to safety. It's a decent-looking house that has a huge tree in the front yard with black ribbons tied to it. The group quickly checks the inside of the house and realizes that it's been left untouched for many years after seeing that the water is dirty, the sink's not working, and the fridge is just as disgusting as ever. Trudy contacts the Resistance through a radio device that they have and is informed that they will arrive in the area within 24 hours to get them all to safety. She also gives some house rules to Ron and Allegra, including not going out of the house under any circumstances and turning the lights off every night. She reveals that the reason why they were hiding in that house is because people are terrified of it, leaving Ron and Allegra confused. Ron eventually finds a water pump somewhere in the house, which is good news since they mentioned earlier that they only have 2 bottles of water left. He announces it to Allegra and Daria while they are busy preparing the little girl's bed, since Daria decides that she doesn't want to sleep beside her parents. The family eats their dinner of only cheese, carrots, and water with their dog Benny. Ron and Allegra assure Daria that it's only just for the night and that everything will get better once they're fetched by the Resistance the next day. After Ron tries to convince Allegra to try and focus on Daria, Allegra tries to bond with her daughter by playing guessing numbers with her. Allegra will sign a random number with her hand on her back and Daria will try to guess them. Surprisingly, Daria guesses all the numbers correctly, which confuses Allegra for a moment. The little girl tells her that the boy standing behind her is helping her guess the numbers. Allegra stares at her back and sees no one standing, which creeps her out a little. She tries to shrug it off by telling Daria to go to sleep already. Daria, curious as ever, asks Allegra why her picture is on a billboard. Allegra sighs and explains to her daughter that she wrote a book that made a lot of people angry, the one she wrote about opposing the beliefs of the North American Federation, which made her a political terrorist by the authorities. Daria expresses her worry about Allegra going to jail again, but her mother assures her that they will always be together from now on. Meanwhile, Ron is at the water pump trying to fix the filter when Trudy, Allegre, and Daria come to check on him. Fortunately, he successfully fixes it and gives them clean water. However, he finds a mysterious old tin box just behind the pipes. Ron opens it and finds a Ku Klux Klan robe and hood. He immediately throws it away, and Trudy is disheartened by the discovery. Ron finds other items such as black ribbons and old pictures of KKK members holding ceremonies at the very house they were in. While looking at the strange items, a figure appears standing behind Allegre, but turns out it is Daria wearing the KKK hood over her head. Ron and Allegre chase her in an instant, furious about her wearing the hood. Allegre searches the rooms for her daughter and is surprised when Daria tries to scare her with the hood. It's serious for Allegre, who yells at the child that she should not wear things like that. Ron immediately tells Allegre that Daria doesn't respond well to yelling, making her feel bad for what she did to their daughter. Trudy quickly throws the hood in the trash after the commotion. That night, Ron takes a bathroom break after watching an old commercial on an old television when he hears a strange noise resembling the door creaking open. He heads to the door at the front and sees it wide open, so he closes it. After closing the door, someone or something tries to forcefully enter. The other door from the back also creaked open, even though no one is out there. When the main door opens again, a mysterious semi-naked man with black liquid on his lips walks up to Ron and applies the same black liquid on his lips. Following the strange encounter, Benny goes out of the house the moment he senses that something is wrong. The door is left wide open again, which makes it easier for the dog to come out. This will be the last time that Benny is seen alive. Allegre, aware of Benny's absence, wakes Trudy up to help her find the dog. Trudy volunteers to find the dog herself outside, since she can't risk Allegre getting caught by the government drones. Wearing her camouflage and night vision goggles, Trudy steps out of the house to look for Benny. Unfortunately, Trudy finds no trace of the dog except for its collar, and the drone flying over captures her movement. Ron wants to look for the dog himself, but Allegre stops him, which causes a small disagreement between the two. The events after Benny's disappearance keep getting worse, though, as the Resistance informs the family that it will take them longer than the estimated time before they can finally arrive at the area. Ron is infuriated and determined to figure a way out himself, but Allegre argues that the best thing they can do is to wait for the Resistance to get them. Allegre, still hoping that Benny will come back, places its food bowl on the front porch. Daria can't sleep either and decides to do some counting so she can fall asleep. While doing so, she notices the plastic near the closet moving on its own. While the whole family is asleep, Ron wakes up with a strange sound of music and the clock ticking. He goes to the kitchen area and finds the semi-naked man from the other night, but is properly dressed. He introduces himself as Kane and hands Ron a piece of bread to slide through the door of the room in the hallway. What a strange request, though, but Ron does it anyway. Kane offers Ron a seat and a slice of apple pie and starts a conversation by saying that he fell out of love with his wife, Darlene, after she tried to turn their son, Steven, against him for his beliefs. He strongly mentions Trudy and Allegre and how he despises them. He also tells a metaphorical story of a fox family, where the Papa Fox ate his wife and son after they tried helping a rabbit instead of hunting it down for food. Kane clears it up that it's not about the rabbit and believes that a man must punish his family if they're against his beliefs. Before Ron leaves the kitchen, Kane reminds him that his wife should not make him less of a man, suggesting that Ron should be more controlling towards Allegre from that moment on. While he's trying to sleep after the interaction, Ron sees Darlene in front of him, with chains on her feet and brushing her extremely dry hair while staring at him. Ron tries his best not to freak out and becomes confused since there's no one tied to the chains before he goes to bed. The next morning, the local militia goes to the house following the drone-captured movement from Trudy while she's looking for Benny the other night. Allegre, Trudy, and Daria hide in the closet, while Ron disguises himself as a man named Dale Thompson and welcomes the militia with a friendly gesture. Ron agrees to let the militia search inside the house when the Resistance suddenly contacts him on the radio. Ron plays it off well and tells the Resistance that he's got company at the moment, and luckily, the militia does not suspect a thing. To prevent Allegre, Trudy, and Daria from getting caught, Ron suggests that they should try searching the basement that is situated outside the house. The militia quickly agrees to go down to the basement and sees nothing, causing them to leave in peace. After the risky interaction with the militia, the family reaches out to the Resistance only to find out that things are starting to get worse with the heightened security measures of the government. Ron becomes curious about the basement, so he goes down there at night and sees Kane. The basement is surprisingly neat and tidy, much better than the conditions inside the old house. Kane and Ron engaged in a conversation easily, as Ron admits that he's happy when he's in full control of every aspect of his life. Kane tells him to be selfish and not let others control him. Ron realizes that he should not let himself get told off by Allegra again. The following morning, Daria locks herself up in a room for being upset. Allegra tries her best to get the child to come out when she's ready, but Ron forces her and instead tries to get her to turn against her mother by guilt-tripping Allegra for bringing them the trouble of hiding her. Ron does this to purposely make Allegra seem like a bad person to their daughter, and it slightly does. Allegra feels apologetic that night and says she should have never brought Ron and Daria in the first place, to which Ron replies coldly that it's too late. That same night, Daria couldn't sleep again and decides to check the closet after hearing strange noises coming out of it. She sees a boy, which is Steven, wheezing as if he's out of breath while his head is wrapped with plastic, asphyxiating him. It creeps Daria out, which makes her go back to her bed, frightened. Ron meets up with Kane once again, with Kane continuing to impose his beliefs on him that he should take back his power. The next day, Ron and Allegra have an interaction in the kitchen. Ron tells Allegra that he doesn't care about anything at all now and that Allegra doesn't really care about him that much. He points a knife at Allegra and straight up confesses that he's sick of her making him feel less of a man, which frightens her and causes her to leave in an instant. Trudy tries contacting the Resistance on the other hand, but gets no response. The longer they stay, the more Ron's mental health and his marriage with Allegra crumbles. Allegra becomes so afraid of Ron that she locks herself and Daria up in a room to avoid getting harmed by her husband. Again, Ron meets up with Kane. He tells the old man that his only hope is his daughter, but Kane disagrees and brainwashes Ron that she will turn out just like Allegra when she grows up. Ron decides to leave, but Kane stops him and asks him a provoking question about what would he do with Allegra, urging Ron to harm his family. Ron looks at Kane's items before leaving, and a KKK robe and hood can be clearly seen, suggesting that Kane is a KKK member all this time. Ron goes out of the basement in the morning carrying a rope, planning something such as harming his family. He goes inside the house and fixes up a picture frame hanging on a wall, and it's revealed that it's Kane's old picture. Yep, he's actually long dead and now just a manipulative ghost that only Ron can see. Ron carries the radio equipment they've been using to contact the Resistance and goes outside to break it. Allegra is shocked to see that her only hope in escaping is gone and destroyed by her own husband. Ron suddenly chokes Allegra behind with the rope and drags her through the ground. Trudy comes to Allegra's rescue and bashes Ron with a shovel, but Ron is quick enough to grab Trudy's gun from her. He threatens to shoot Allegra and Trudy, but Daria suddenly comes and goes behind her mother. Allegra begs Ron to put the gun down, and Daria tells him that he's loved. Ron goes back to his senses, but he realizes that he's a threat to his family. He shoots himself, and Daria gets to witness the horrifying scene. Allegra and Trudy immediately drag Ron's body and cover it when Trudy notices that a drone just captured their movement. The local militia arrives as quickly as the movement is detected and is convinced that there's a fugitive hiding by the side of Ron's lifeless body outside. They search the house, unaware of Darlene and Steven's vengeful spirits lurking inside. They're seeking revenge for what Kane did to them, and they take it on the militia members. Darlene's ghost kills a militia member by choking him to death with her chains, and Steven kills another by asphyxiation through plastic, the same way Kane punished them back then. Allegra and Daria head to the front of the house, and Trudy manages to shoot the militia leader after she gets shot by him too. Luckily, Trudy survives and ends the militia leader's life by shooting him again. The three of them take over the militia jeep and send a message through their radio exposing themselves and their location. Allegra takes the risk and addresses the fear tactics that the government uses to control people, and that she will never stop fighting for freedom. With this, their chances of making it alive are low now. The movie ends with Allegra driving the militia jeep away, with Trudy and Daria beside her. Honestly, the title of the movie deserves justice. The story has potential, only if the movie did not focus more on its political side. The cinematography is great, but it does not make up for the bad execution of the scenes. This could really be better with more depth into the evil that runs inside the house and not dwelling on its political aspects.